This evening we're going to talk about illusion. The title of this word is Passing Through the Veil of Illusion. Truth is not a concept. It's not something that your mind can assent to and process, and then all of a sudden you know the truth. It's entirely something different. Preachers can recite scriptures that are truthful. That's fine. But the act of hearing is not a product of your auditory canal. Truth is about embracing Christ, who is the truth, the Spirit of truth. And the more you're able to receive him, the more you will be able to know the truth. The more you're able to accept Christ on progressively deeper and deeper levels, which can only be achieved through the deeper work of the cross in your life, the more you'll be able to truly hear what God is speaking and to hear his voice. It's only when the truth changes you that you know you've heard, at least on one of many levels. And the more you mature, the greater you'll be able to hear the truth and subsequently change even more deeply. And how does that scripture go? When you know the truth, what happens? The truth sets you free. That's a deeply mystical passage because who is the truth, the way, and the light? It's the Lord Jesus Christ. He is the truth, the way, and the light. And the more that you come to know him, the truth, the more you're set free. For the truth sets you free. It's very mystical because it's not about hearing and understanding and then changing or being that train that says, I think I can, I think I can. It takes it out of the whole realm of the mind and out of the realm of the soul. And this is what has been progressively happening. We're going to talk about our perception of reality because God is rewiring the suns. We've been on a long path of unlearning and letting go of the baggage that we've picked up along our sojourn and relearning how to see. And how we see our reality is changing, but it's based upon our ability to know the truth. As you begin to know the truth greater and greater, your paradigm shifts, your view of reality changes. We've talked about quantum physics and some of the research that's been done over the years, and it's really quite interesting. Quantum physics deals with reality on a quantum level, and the quantum level deals with matter so minute in size that it's thought to be at the base level of creation. And it is at this level that energy has a great deal of influence. We're talking about your personal energy, what you project, how you think, your emotions, all of that is energy. Everything is energy. And that energy can affect the reality that you live in. It can change it. It is at this level that energy has its greatest deal of influence. Scientists have studied the correlation between a person's paradigm and the reality in which they live. And they've determined that as a person views reality through their given paradigm, that their internal viewpoint can actually influence the reality that they see. In essence, through your personal paradigm, you're able to create a substantive reality, even if it's an illusion. That is how powerful the mind really is, and how it can affect reality based upon your personal paradigm. And that, of course, can be substantiated in the scriptures. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. It's Proverbs 23. So, what are we saying? Saying, as you see reality around you, your reality will come into an alignment with your view. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. It may entirely be an illusion. but you have the power to create an illusion as a substantive reality. That's why God has been dealing with the sons so much, to get them out of their limited paradigm, which is your mental freeway, you might say. And do we follow? I mean, that's been the path. As we left the old order of church, God said, okay, you've got to let everything go. At that time, we didn't know. That was 30 plus years ago. We didn't know what he meant to let go. Except, okay, maybe we're talking about, letting go of relationships, bonds, contacts, things like that, externally. But he was really talking about letting go of the deep things within us, which had become baggage, which we all carry. Imagine your mind traveling on a freeway. Everyone has their own unique view of reality, so each one might travel on a slightly different variant of that freeway. Let's say your paradigm is on Freeway I-95, and someone else might be on the I-10. Understand, everyone is on a different freeway or a different track, which has literally been carved out within their mind, and they view reality along that track. You might meet someone and wonder, well, why don't they see things the way you do? The problem is that they're on a slightly different freeway. They might be on the I-10 and you're over here on the I-95. Well, the I-10 is how they view reality, and that's the groove their mind is in. Therefore, their reality is the substantive manifestation of how they see. That is quantum physics. However, quantum physics suggests that if you can change your way of seeing reality, then your reality will change to align to your new viewpoint. That's some pretty deep stuff. In the book of Psalms, it says, "Know ye not that ye are gods?" We still haven't really understood what we are in God, what he has created us to be, and what we have the potential to do. We literally have the power to create what we believe. If you believe in resurrection life enough, then that will become your reality. That becomes the truth, especially if you're more aligned to God's truth and not an illusion. How much more powerful all of this is when you're aligned to the truth and not the lie. God has been delivering his sons out of the world progressively. Literally, as the scripture goes, he's been delivering us from the domain of darkness. And this has been a work in progress. The sons are being pulled out of the realm of illusion, lies, deception, and darkness. They are being delivered out of the vast darkness that exists on the face of the earth, and they're being pulled up into and anchoring into the realm of truth. Their paradigm is being shifted out of an adherence to the illusion into being anchored literally into the truth. Once again, that's 1 Colossians 1:13. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son. However, if you read between the line, it says that there's going to be a slight process involved here, because God will deliver you, but then he has to deliver what's within you that has been locked into the conditioning that's been created by having lived under the domain of darkness. And we've talked about that before. The assault that comes against the sons of God is to paint an illusion in front of them of limitation, lack, until you buckle under it. And when that happens, you enter into the warfare trying just to fight it off or deal with it, when it's just an illusion. We call it paper dragons. But by understanding the power of the mind and the principle of quantum physics, we realize how very careful we must be not to respond to the illusion or the lie. Our response gives credence or weight to the lie and helps to create it into a substantive reality. We really have to be careful and on guard with what we speak and how we think. You know, for example, let's talk about finances, which is pretty much in everyone's face. You say, well, I just don't have any money to pay this bill. How can this be an illusion? And so you're sitting there working it out, and I'm saying it is an illusion. And the enemy throws illusion after illusion on the sons, and you either buckle under it or you rise above it. It's your choice to reject it or let it become your paradigm. So what is the answer? Throw your anchor into him and anchor into the truth of his word until his truth becomes your paradigm. If you think, well, I don't have the money to pay the bills, I don't have the money, well, then you won't. But what if your paradigm shifts? Quantum physics shifts. What happens? All of a sudden you have an abundance. Coincidence? Not really. Well, how did that happen? Well, so-and-so paid me, or I got some money, or I got something in the mail. Maybe. Who knows how it happened? But I can tell you how it was created. It was created because your paradigm stopped adhering to the lie and it began to adhere to the truth, and the principle of quantum physics came into action, and boom, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. The reality has to manifest according to the truth of what you see and how you perceive. Some people who aren't even Christians can perform feats that are beyond human comprehension, human capability. Why can someone do that and others cannot? Well, I cannot explain to you what those individuals may have gone through in their life to create a certain mindset, a certain paradigm. But their paradigm did not accept the illusion of cannot, but rather the truth of, well, yes, I can do that. People can materialize stuff out of thin air. How? Because their paradigm accepts that as a truth, and they don't believe that it's impossible. Well, how does the word go? Matthew 19. All things are possible to him that believes. All things. Someone might think, well, maybe not all things, maybe just this or this. No, all things. Well, what about the scripture, you've been blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places, Ephesians 1:3, every spiritual blessing. And the mind says, well, I don't know, maybe not, because I don't have this or I don't have this. No, the word is, you've been blessed with every spiritual blessing. This is why the renewal of the mind is so intrinsically tied into the manifestation of sonship. And so what is holding us back? Why haven't we broken into the deep, deep things of sonship? Because we've not fully believed that we could. There's been a lack within our paradigm, and so quantum physics once again is at play here. As you see reality, reality will conform to what you believe, and that will be your manifested truth. Once again, as a man sees in his heart, so is he. It's a very deep word because this is the impasse. We could also call this word, what is the impasse to sonship? Because this is the impasse. This is why we're constantly admonished to wait upon the Lord and to let go. We're tired of creating reality out of illusion. The whole world is doing that. We've spoken about the ability that the leaders of this age have in creating a substantive reality by virtue of creating a global perception. It sounds like a lot of words, but if you get people on a global scale into a certain mindset, it will create a substantive reality. It's really quite simple. You have enough people believing in the same line of thought, and it will create a reality. And that is how the enemy has controlled the world to a great degree. And believe me, we're all in the middle of this. A great fight is happening, a great battle. Yet the deliverance of the sons of God will change the world just by virtue of their becoming. The act of becoming is going to change everything. We must realize that things are not as they appear. And we must be very careful in our assessment of what we see. This has been an underscoring directive from the Lord, which has come numerous times. It can be very interesting to study the events happening in the earth. There's a great deal of darkness upon the people of this earth who have no ability to see. Some people might say, well, we're in the end times. The judgments are unfolding. People can have many different interpretations of what is happening on a broad global scale, but they really do not see the larger picture. They only see what Satan would have them see. Ephesians 6, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. And I know to a degree that a lot of people have to take this by faith. They don't see it. Some do. But the warfare is raging in the heavens. And the sons of God are being pulled into this conflict more and more, whether we realize it or not. But that realization will definitely dawn upon us. And it doesn't take that much revelation to realize that we're in the end times. Yes, we're in the times that we will see the wrap-up of God's dealings with mankind. But what we're talking about is something that goes far deeper, because we know that Satan is being cast out of the heavens. He has been a master manipulator of events and seasons which are unfolding in the earth, for he is the lie and the father of the lie. And he is able to manipulate events and circumstances to create the illusion filling the earth right now. And how is this realm of illusion propagated? Well, the media is a major part, because it is so easy to sway the emotions of people. A recent interview with the departing editor of the Guardian newspaper in England was quoted as saying that there are billions of pieces of false news put out every day. And that's staggering. And who is the engine behind this? Satan. On one level, you can look at the governments of the world and what the leaders are doing, and you can say, well, this is what's going on. The news is reporting this, so this must be true, and this is what's happening in this country, and so forth. And you say, well, obviously this is happening. And on one very basic level, it may be happening. But that is not the truth. That is not the reality. That is not really what is happening. You must be able to step back and have the Spirit give you deep insight to see through the thin veil that exists yet within our mind and really see what is happening. Look at the world as this massive chessboard, and the people of this world are the pawns on this chessboard, and the chessboard is being played out by the realm of spirit. Events that are unfolding are all part of what is happening on this chessboard, as governments and people are all pawns of the realm of spirit, which seeks to both control and direct the destiny of mankind. If that's your perception, then you would not be that far off. But if you look closer, much closer, you'll begin to see overlapping realities functioning concurrently. There are many levels of the kingdom and many levels that exist in the realm of spirit. To see one level is to see one manifested reality, but each level comes with its own reality, and each level overlaps the other. It's John 14. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. And this is very complex, because many levels and or realities are happening at the same time. We just don't know it. And the level of least truth would be the natural plane, which is constantly affected by what is happening on the higher levels of the spirit realm. Come up higher. Come up to the second level, the third level, the fourth level, and you'll begin to see a whole different plan that is playing out. It must be very interesting to the satanic world, as they have conspired for generations to control and direct the human race. They have a predetermined outcome they're looking to achieve, as we know. And believe me, the satanic world is not stupid. Maybe the demons and really low orders are, but the higher orders of Satan's kingdom are not. There's a great deal of thought being put into the destruction of the human race and of thwarting the plan of God during this time. When Satan lays out an agenda for a plan, he's not looking at what can be accomplished in the next 3 or 4 years. The satanic hosts look and say, okay, what can we accomplish in 100 years, 200 years, 500 years? How can we gradually move the human race down a certain path that will end up in destruction? And it doesn't take too much insight to go back 4 or 5 generations and see how much America has fallen, both in social values and in the demoralization of America. America, let alone the world, is going down a massive path headed to destruction. And this is not just a product of the internet or our communication skills as a people. This has been very methodically planned out and orchestrated. Take another look. It's gaining a great deal more momentum right now. Illusion or reality? The word keeps coming in the spirit. Don't look with your eyes and feel that you can draw a conclusion, because things are not as they appear. This is why the sons of God have to be seers that see deep into the realm of spirit. They must see beyond the veil, because the only way the sons are going to move with the leverage to bring the judgments that have to be brought is that they see deeply beyond the veil and the limitations that they've known. Things are not as they appear, and that needs to haunt us. Do not allow yourself to go down the rabbit hole being created by the satanic seed. Oh, well, this must be what's happening because this is what my eyes see. This is what the news reported. We must realize the dynamics behind the scene. Even those who are being used as unwitting channels of Satan do not realize what is happening. People are becoming unwitting tools of the devil because the devil seeks access to the sons. You have to be so careful with your atmosphere. Guard your atmosphere, your spirit, and your eyesight. It's imperative that we do not allow ourselves to go down the road of looking at things and saying, well, what I see is what is. This must be the reality. It's not the reality unless you are seeing it from a high enough vantage point of spirit. If you're looking to get something done in the spirit, then it only gets done when you hit it on the highest level at the root. Whatever it is you might need, whatever circumstance or issue you might be dealing with, will not be resolved on this level. It will be resolved from the realm of spirit on a much higher plane, and only because you have the insight to see. And it's that precious sight that gives you the leverage to deal the death blow. This is why eyesight is so critical and cannot be overstated. Why has the issue of bonds and relationships come up so many times over the years? Bonds and relationships, sympathy and obligation are born of the soul and are the perfect conduits of transference and blindness. And when you're blinded, you're out of the game. What is worse is that when you're blind-sided, you don't even know that you're blind. That's just it. You don't know when you're blind. You don't know when you've lost sight. The whole church world is blind as blind can be. As the word says, blind leaders of the blind. And they all believe they see, but they know not that they've lost their sight. To the sons who have this high calling, I say just one thing. You've got to see. You've got to move beyond the appearance that Satan would present from this whole realm of illusion and realize there are several layers that are happening at the same time. Probe deeply. What's happening in the earth right now is not what you think. What is going on from nation to nation and wars and rumors of wars and all of this, it's not what it appears. What's going on in your life 90% of the time is not what it appears. Relationships that you have are generally not what they appear. It's time to wake up. And when you really wake up, then the unclean transference and spiritual input into your life will no longer have access to you. And that's in Isaiah 52. Awake, awake, clothe yourself in your strength, O Zion. Clothe yourself in your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. That right there is predicated upon sight. You can't do it unless you see it. For the uncircumcised and the unclean will no longer come into you. And shake yourself from the dust. Rise up, O captive Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the chains around your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. This speaks about the bonds, obligations, cords that have attached to the sons. Your bonds, amongst many other things. Don't assume that you're awake. You're only a little bit awake. But you've got to wake up a lot more. I've got to wake up a lot more. And that comes with the maturity, and that's here now. Don't forget that you're in the process of passing through the heavens, even as Christ did. And the first level you pass through is the veil of illusion that is over the entire earth. At the time of the printing of this pamphlet, a short word came called Your High Calling. I'm going to add that in to this. It's just a very short meditation. There are many unique callings resting upon those who have been brought forth during this time to walk in sonship. Not all are the same. In fact, I doubt if any two are the same. God is placing the sons exactly where he wants them. Each son has a unique calling that must be fulfilled to see God's plan come to fruition. And that could sound heavy, but there's a great responsibility resting upon those called to sonship. What you are to do as a unique part of the body, the sons of God, is unique unto you. The end goal that everything dovetails into is the establishing of the kingdom and the breakthrough of resurrection life. Christ is the firstborn of the many, now coming to birth. As each person has a unique frequency or vibration, so each one of you has a unique calling that no one else can fulfill. Do you believe that? This is the truth. As Christ was sent, so you have been sent into the earth at this time. God is equipping you with everything that you will need to fulfill your calling. The enemy would seek to demean you, to lessen your opinion of yourself, to have you compare yourself to another. But you cannot do that, because what you are to do, no one else will do in bringing the completion of this timeline. I hope this really sinks in, because this is how you must see yourself. Each son is so special unto the Lord. No one is any greater than another. And what you have to do, no other can do. Any spirit that would say anything else is a lie and comes from the father of lies, Satan. The first veil we must break through is the veil within us and over us. The veil that would separate us from the Lord. The veil that hides your awareness of who you are and how you are uniquely important to the Father's plan. To this veil we say, "Begone, Satan, get behind me. I do not accept the lies and illusion that have been directed towards me or any of God's sons. Be it done now." Thank you for listening.